Hey everyone, hope you're having a great day. You're listening to the RX Daily Dose. Today's episode is being recorded for Tuesday, December 8th, and I'm your host, Ian Parnagoni. We update this podcast for healthcare providers, medical professionals, and anyone who has an interest in drug updates. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe on all your favorite podcast platforms and social media, including iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, and Instagram. All links can be found in the show notes below. So in today's episode, we'll discuss the approval of Oxlumo for primary hyperoxyluria type 1 and approval of Imcivree for chronic weight management. The FDA also issued 2 EUAs for combination treatments for COVID-19 as well. As always, feel free to skip around. I'm going to include times in the show notes so you get the drugs that interest you. And one thing to mention, I do anticipate COVID vaccine EUAs to come out this week too, so keep an ear open for next week's episode, where we'll most likely be discussing and reviewing those. First up though, the FDA approved Lumazeran, which goes by brand name Oxlumo, as the first treatment for primary hyperoxyluria type 1, goes by PH1, which is a rare genetic disorder. Primary hyperoxylarias are caused by excess production of oxalate, a substance consumed in food and also produced by the body. PH1 is the most common and severe type. PH1 affects an estimated 1 to 3 individuals per million in North America and Europe and accounts for approximately 80% of PH cases. Patients with PH1 produce far too much oxalate, which can combine with calcium and cause kidney stones and deposits in the kidneys. Patients can experience progressive kidney damage, which can lead to kidney failure and the need for dialysis. As kidney function worsens, oxalate can build up and damage other organs, including the heart, bones, and eyes. Oxlumo works to decrease oxalate production. It was evaluated in 2 studies in patients with PH1, a randomized placebo-controlled trial in patients 6 years and older, and an open-label study in patients younger than 6 years. Patients range in age from 4 months to 61 years at the first dose. In the first study, 26 patients received a monthly injection of Oxlumo, followed by a maintenance dose every 3 months. 13 patients received placebo injections. The primary endpoint was the amount of oxalate measured in the urine over 24 hours. In the Oxlumo group, patients had on average a 65% reduction of oxalate in the urine, compared to an average 12% reduction in the placebo group. By the 6th month of the study, 52% of patients treated with Oxlumo reached a normal 24-hour urinary oxalate level. No patients treated with the placebo did. In the second study, 16 patients younger than 6 years all received Oxlumo. Using another measure of oxalate in the urine, the study showed on average a 71% decrease in urinary oxalate by the 6th month of the study. The most common side effects of Oxlumo include injection site reaction and abdominal pain. Oxlumo received orphan drug designation, which provides incentives to assist and encourage drug development for rare diseases. In addition, the manufacturer received a rare pediatric disease priority review voucher. The FDA granted the approval of Oxlumo to Alnylam Pharmaceuticals. The FDA also approved setmelanotide, which goes by brand name Incivory, for chronic weight management in patients 6 years and older with obesity due to 3 rare genetic conditions: pro-opiomelanocortin deficiency, pro-protein subtilisin kexin type 1 deficiency, and leptin receptor deficiency confirmed by genetic testing demonstrating variants in POMC, PCSK1, or LEPR genes considered pathogenic, likely pathogenic, or of uncertain significance. Imcivree is the first FDA-approved treatment for these genetic conditions. Imcivree is not approved for obesity due to suspected POMC, PCSK1, or LEPR deficiency, with variants classified as benign or likely benign, or other types of obesity, including obesity associated with other genetic syndromes and general obesity. People with obesity due to POMC, PCSK1, or LEPR deficiency become severely obese at a young age. Patients are usually a normal weight at birth, but they gain excess weight because of a genetic defect that affects their level of hunger, ability to feel full or satiated, and energy output. These conditions are very rare, with only about 150 reported in the medical literature for all three combined. Imcivree works by activating areas in the brain that regulate appetite and fullness, causing patients with specific defects in these areas of the brain not to eat as much and to lose weight. The drug also increases resting metabolism, which can contribute to weight loss. While Imcivree leads to weight loss in patients with obesity associated with these conditions, it does not treat the genetic defects that cause the conditions or other symptoms or signs. Imcivree was evaluated in 2 one-year studies. The first study enrolled patients with obesity and confirmed or suspected POMC or PCSK1 deficiency, while the second study enrolled patients with obesity and confirmed or suspected LEPR deficiency. All patients were 6 years or older. The effectiveness of Imcivree was assessed in 21 patients, 10 in the first study and 11 in the second. In the first study, 80% of patients with POMC or PCSK1 deficiency lost 10% or more of their body weight. In the second study, 46% of patients with LEPR deficiency lost 10% or more of their body weight. The study also assessed the maximal hunger in 16 patients over the previous 24 hours using an 11-point scale in patients 12 years and older. In both studies, some but not all of patients' weekly average maximal hunger scores decreased substantially from their scores at the beginning of the study. The degree of change was highly variable among patients. The most common side effects of Imcivree include injection site reactions, skin hyperpigmentation, headache, and gastrointestinal side effects, among others. Spontaneous erections in males and adverse sexual reactions in females have occurred with treatment. Depression and suicidal ideation have also occurred with Imcivree. The FDA granted orphan disease designation, breakthrough therapy designation, and priority review for this drug application. The FDA granted the approval of Imcivree to Rhythm Pharmaceuticals. The FDA also issued new emergency use authorizations for COVID-19. The first is for casirivimab and imdevimab to be administered together for the treatment of mild to moderate COVID-19 in adults and pediatric patients with positive results of direct SARS-CoV-2 viral testing and who are at high risk for progressing to severe COVID-19. This includes those who are 65 years of age and older, or who have certain chronic medical conditions. In clinical trials of patients with COVID-19, casirivimab and imdevimab, administered together, were shown to reduce COVID-19-related hospitalization or emergency room visits in patients at high risk for COVID disease progression within 28 days after treatment when compared to placebo. The safety and effectiveness of this investigational therapy for use in the treatment of COVID-19 continues to be evaluated. Casirivimab and imdevimab must be administered together by IV infusion. They are not authorized for patients who are hospitalized due to COVID-19 or require oxygen therapy due to COVID-19. A benefit of casirivimab and imdevimab treatment has not been shown in patients hospitalized due to COVID-19. Monoclonal antibodies such as casirivimab and imdevimab may be associated with worse clinical outcomes when administered to hospitalized patients with COVID-19 requiring high-flow oxygen or mechanical ventilation. Monoclonal antibodies are lab-made proteins that mimic the immune system's ability to fight off harmful pathogens such as viruses. Casirivimab and Imcivree are monoclonal antibodies that are specifically directed against the spike protein of SARS-CoV-2, designed to block the virus's attachment and entry into human cells. The second EUA was for the drug Barocytinib in combination with remdesivir for the treatment of suspected or lab-confirmed COVID-19 in hospitalized adults and pediatric patients 2 years of age or older, requiring supplemental oxygen, invasive mechanical ventilation, or extracorporeal membrane oxygenation. In a clinical trial of hospitalized patients with COVID-19, Barocytinib in combination with remdesivir was shown to reduce time to recovery within 29 days after initial treatment compared to patients who received a placebo with remdesivir. The safety and effectiveness of this investigational therapy for use in the treatment of COVID-19 continues to be evaluated. Barocytinib is not authorized or approved as a standalone treatment for COVID-19. Barocytinib is a Janus kinase inhibitor, which blocks the activity of one or more of a specific family of enzymes, interfering with the pathway that leads to inflammation. Barocytinib is a prescription oral tablet medication that is FDA approved, and goes by brand name Olumiant, for the treatment of moderately to severely active rheumatoid arthritis. Under today's EUA, the FDA is authorizing the emergency use of Barocytinib in combination with remdesivir for the treatment of certain hospitalized patients with suspected or lab-confirmed COVID-19. Remdesivir is an FDA-approved and sold under the brand name Veklury IV antiviral drug for use in adult and pediatric patients 12 years of age and older and weighing at least 40 kilos, for the treatment of COVID-19 requiring hospitalization. Remdesivir also remains authorized for emergency use for the treatment of suspected or lab-confirmed COVID-19 in hospitalized pediatric patients weighing 3.5 kilos to less than 40 kilos, or hospitalized pediatric patients less than 12 years of age weighing at least 3.5 kilos. So for both of these, the issuance of an EUA is different than an FDA approval. In determining whether to issue an EUA, the FDA evaluates the totality of available scientific evidence and carefully balances any known or potential risks with any known or potential benefits of the product for use during an emergency. Based on the FDA's review of the totality of scientific evidence available, the agency has determined that it is reasonable to believe that both therapies, if administered together, may be effective in treating patients with COVID-19. When used to treat COVID-19 for the authorized population, the known and potential benefits of these products outweigh the known and potential risks. Under the EUA, fact sheets that provide important information about the therapies together in treating COVID-19 as authorized must be made available to healthcare providers and to their patients. These fact sheets include dosing instructions, potential side effects, and drug interactions. Possible side effects include anaphylaxis, infusion-related reactions, fever, chills, hives, itching, and flushing. And that's all I have for right now. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. I'll include all links in the show notes below, so please go back and check those out too. Please connect with me on any of your social media platforms and give me feedback on what you heard today. I'd love to know what you thought about the episode. And as always, feel free to like, share, and subscribe wherever you listen to your podcasts. And thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.